After glam rock band Scissor Sisters released their self-titled album in 2004, it became a smash hit. In the UK, it reached #1 on the album charts and became the highest-selling album of the year. No small feat for the band's debut. 2 years later, they'd follow it up with Ta-Da, accompanied by 4 singles. It didn't sell quite as many records and received a few negative reviews, deriding it for going with the flow of pop rather than making something truly stand out, like their last hit. Still, it's a pretty fun listen, and was the album that got me into Scissor Sisters. Even if you don't recognize the album or the band, if you were on Tumblr in the 2010s, you probably know this song. I can't decide whether you should live or die. Made popular by its 2007 appearance in Doctor Who, I Can't Decide brought the band a decent amount of retroactive fame through the internet. That's not to say they weren't popular before, as I Don't Feel Like Dancin' was actually the highest charting single off the album. And there's plenty more gold on this record than just these 2 hits. Personally, while I love these songs, I don't feel they're as thematically dense as some of the other albums I've covered. It's more pop, disco-ish dancing music, so I'm trying something new today. Rather than a deep dive, we're doing a quick analysis of Scissor Sisters' Ta-Da. I'll cover the lyrics and music of each song in about a minute or 2, and tie it all up with a nice bow at the end. As always, I highly recommend listening to the songs yourself, and showing the artist some love. And if you like what I do, and want to see more of it, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Ready, set,
let's go!
Track 1 kicks off Ta-Da with an energetic start. If it feels like an Elton John song, that's because it partially is. The man himself co-wrote it and performs the backing piano track. Jake Shears, the band's lead vocalist, leans back and forth between his falsetto and usual singing voice, often gradually changing over the course of a single line. The lyrics describe a former partygoer going back to the scene after time away. They know they can't dance and would make a fool of themselves trying, but they see the one they love cutting a rug on the dance floor. They're in awe of their beloved, their chest pounding at the sight, and decide reluctantly to join them. I had assumed the term Old Joanna referred to a singer, but apparently it's Cockney slang for piano. Despite the song's title, the upbeat rhythm, accentuated claps, and catchiness of the main hook make for a very danceable experience. Track 2 leans more into the rock than the glam, with the guitar taking center stage over the piano. I had initially assumed it was about a man in love with his sadistic, dominant girlfriend, which, real. But there's an awful lot of references to ships and ports in the song, which some clever listeners have tied to the folktale of Annie Christmas. Annie was a woman who ran a keelboat, hauling freight and strong enough to lift entire hay bales by herself. Any man who'd challenge her strength, job, or overall lifestyle would find out very quickly why she wore a string of pearls, one for each man she defeated. This line's pretty self-explanatory. Bro's a freak, and I respect it. The big one. No doubt you've seen plenty of animatics depicting this as some twisted romance between the villain and the hero, sung from the former's perspective. Actually appropriate, considering its appearance in Doctor Who. The singer plays the role of serial killer, playfully debating what they should do with their latest victim. The subject is likely not a random target, as the narrator waxes lyrical about their own struggles pretending to be normal, and suggests the listener is in a similar boat. It's a bit different from the Scissor Sisters' usual pop sound, with a prominent banjo and swing rhythm, but they're also no stranger to experimentation, as we'll see later. Still, with the random spring sound effects, it's pretty distinct.
If I stop now, call me a quitter.
A bit of a funkier tune, track 4 was co-written by Carlos Alomar, a Puerto Rican guitarist who frequently collabed with David Bowie. He's often credited for work on the whole album, but only shown as co-writer on a handful of tracks, so your guess is as good as mine for how many tracks he played on.
Nobody's calling that payphone in your mind. I wonder just what they find, but that line's busy all the time.
The lyrics describe a physical relationship that the singer knows is superficial. He knows his lover isn't thinking of him, pretending to care just for the sake of sex. He acknowledges that he should know better and look for better, but he clings to a vain hope that he'll come around.
When you cut the lights out, think of me. When you cut the lights out, think of all the things you can't see.
When the lights are off and he can't see the singer's body, is he still in love? Does he still think about him as more than just a means for bumping fuzzies? I like the term, "that face will be revealed," not the face he shows to the world, but his inner self, the one you only see when you love someone. Can the subject learn to see it, or will he just blow a load on it? No matter the lyrical content, the songs previous all had upbeat instrumentals, but here we're met with a more solemn, serious number. Piano takes the lead again, with drums providing depth. It reminds me a bit of Ween's It's Gonna Be Alright, a bittersweet song about how a relationship just won't work out.
I'll try to stay, but it's in vain when you're far.
The singer and the subject both have their own worlds, their own goals, and life is pulling them apart. There's no resentment here, and there's love enough that they've tried to make it work. But it's an endless chase. The 1,000 words are all the excuses, the maybes, the temporary solutions to keep this thing going, when they both know what's inevitable.
This is the land of 1,000 words, but it seems so few are worth the breath to say.
But despite this, the singer insists they're going to keep up the chase, even if he knows he'll lose. Who knows how many times he's attempted this, or if this will be the last time. But he's on the run to wherever they are. A neat little ragtime tune to lift our spirits after the last track. That is, unless you understand the lyrics. This nihilistic romp is Elton John's second contribution to the album, co-writing and providing backing piano once again. Though a bit farther off from his usual style, the singer likens life to a show, a constant performance with no breaks, only a curtain call.
Now there's never gonna be an intermission, but there'll always be a closing night.
The subject is already depressed, gazing over the edge of oblivion. There's momentary joys to distract them, but they're fleeting at best and draw judgment from others at worst. The singer mostly reflects these thoughts back at them, echoing their negative sentiments towards the world, but occasionally urges them not to follow through with their intentions.
When the treetops sing and sway, don't go to sleep tonight.
Several allusions are made to suicide, and yet the singer warns against it, mentioning a fight for freedom from devotion. As rotten as this world may seem, and as inevitable as death is, It's hard to convince oneself to take the plunge. So many things tether us to this world, and it's these doubts between the lines that keep the subject on solid ground.
Never entertain those visions, lest you may have packed your baggage.
Ominous and deep choral harmonies give way to an electronic breakup song headed by animatronic. Shears comes in with falsetto on backing vocals to provide emphasis with a crispy distortion effect.
Questions come alive in the middle of the day, over and over again.
A sticker on the single's promo CD has Miss Matronic explain it quite plainly. It's about knowing you're better than how you're being treated in a relationship and getting the fuck out, and then telling him to kiss your ass. It also pegs the inspiration for the instrumentals as 80s new wave.
I ain't just kissing you, I'm kissing you off.
The singer has had enough of the excuses and sweet talking, and they're out to find someone who will show them the respect that they deserve. Each chorus is followed by some truly gnarly guitar solos by Del Marquis. It's a bit on the longer and more repetitive side, but hey, I'm not complaining. A funky bass line dominates this song, being joined by piano on the chorus sections. Shears duets with himself, once again alternating between his normal and falsetto singing within a single line.
Don't understand this so hateful. We don't need those diamond rings.
The singer is on fire, dancing the night away, and he can't be bothered by people who would just drag him down. Rich snobs acting uptight, passing judgment, he couldn't care less. No money to spend? He doesn't need it. He's got a dance floor to tear up, and suggests these people could use an ooh of their own. The ooh in question is either dancing or sex, with the line between the two blurred throughout. Not that they're mutually exclusive to begin with. Even within the same verse, references are explicitly made to both making love and dancing. Regardless, it's the perfect song to ooh it to. Another collaboration with Alamar, and quite a campy tune. Track 9 was inspired by one of Jake Shear's dreams. As a big fan of the former Beatle, the song is a message to his idol, a compliment about how much his music means to him. As far as I can tell, the lyrics don't make reference to McCartney's music or history, but it's hard to get more obvious than the title.
Do we dream about each other at the same time? This might be the only way to talk to you.
Sort of like a friendlier version of Bill Watterson or Two Love, the singer knows that the only way to get Paul's attention is with a hit song. Something so catchy, out there in the public eye, that he can't ignore it. The bridge states this message most clearly, though the rest of the song seems to be the band indulging in McCartney's hypnotic sounds. The overall tone of the song, and even vocal tics like ha ha, seem more like an homage to disco artists. I could see it as a love letter to the Tramps, the Bee Gees, or even to Jamiroquai. But maybe I'm reading too much into it. This is Scissor Sisters' style, and if they want to celebrate musicians by making music their way, more power to them.
The music that connects me to you.
There's a line at the end of track 10 that adds a lot of complexity to a simpler song. Granted, it should go without saying because it's Scissor Sisters, but a lot of their music has focused on the LGBT community and the many facets of that experience. It's not just the partying and the euphoria of exploring yourself. It's the tragedy of hearts that can't have each other, that must keep their love away from prying eyes. Even those hiding from family and communities today never saw the decades before us of asylums and violence.
And I have a right to be loved. There'll be over the rainbow for me.
Other people pointed out a line in the chorus that seems an homage to Walt Whitman's Song of Myself.
Everything that comes to me as good belongs to you.
Versus Whitman's line, for every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. This poem was panned at the time for more overt homosexual themes. The other side is led by a Knight Rider-esque synth and an echoing psychedelic guitar, while the singer comforts their lover. They're dead, or will be dying soon, but they want their lover to be alright, to know that when the time comes, they'll be waiting on the other side, even when the grass grows over their heads, when their names are forgotten by history. They'll be side by side in the end.
I'll count our blessings as I wait for you on the other side. Good luck and I will see you through.
It'll be difficult to be the one left behind, but the lover has a life ahead of them to live. The singer reassures them that they'll be alright, and the world will go on in the meantime. Like with Elton's contributions, you feel the piano as soon as it enters, though the real highlight of this track is the versatility of the acoustic guitar. The plucks and strums are sharp and give the chorus an enchanting feeling. The singer and subject are once again lovers, and the future of their relationship is uncertain. Our protagonist is convinced they're the one, and is ready to give up nights of dating around, to slow down, grow old and comfortable with the love of their life.
Life seems so much slower with your toothbrush by the mirror. Can I make it any clearer?
However, there's still undertones of fear in the lover, hiding this relationship, hiding who they are from the outside world. Whether it's talking in whispers as to not let neighbors know the singer is there, or changing their appearance to match expectations. It's all but stated to be homophobia at work. If the outside world knew the lover was gay, what might they do?
If you just cut your clothes and change your hair, but I won't fuss and moan about what you wear.
But it doesn't matter what the world thinks. Even if the world doesn't like them, the singer does. They accept them for who they are, and would be willing to devote themselves all the way, if only the lover will reciprocate and take that bold step with them.
And I just might tell you tonight that I love you.
The last song on Ta-Da returns to the same sort of grandiose sound as track 1, with a much more optimistic message.
You open up your jaw, see your janky clothes. Just remember life's in love with you, but let's suppose.
On this ball of dirt and water that we call home, we fight a lot, always out for ourselves, worried about who's gonna screw us over, take what little we've got. But rather than see it as everybody is against us, the singer takes another perspective. Everyone's in the same boat. We all have our own little corner of the world to protect, our own love to hold, our own dreams to chase.
Trading places on the chain gang. It doesn't matter how you swing it, everybody wants the same thing.
Death could take us at any time, and you'll go crazy trying to find some grand meaning behind it all. When your time comes, will you feel satisfied with all the time you spent fighting others, all the hearts you broke when you could have healed them instead? At least for the singer, they plan to spend their time here on love, giving it and seeking it from others. We've only got each other in this life, so it's best we learn to get along.
And love is what I want, and love is what I give. Right is where I'm finding it, that's how I'm gonna live.
It's hard to judge Tada without viewing it in the context of their previous album. After all, their self-titled debut was what put them on the map and made all this possible. Though still present, the overtly LGBT elements from last album are a bit more subtle, as is the social commentary that came with them. Compare The Other Side to something like Tits on the Radio, using quotes and allusions to homophobia, rather than outright discussing the obsolescence of queer sex workers. There's also a heavier pop leaning, helped by the contributions from celebrity musicians. Several critical reviews panned this album for the musical shift, saying that it failed to challenge the conventions of pop, and that it felt like the sisters covering themselves. With such a big hit to follow up on, I imagine the pressure led the band to play it safe, to make more radio-ready singles, rather than digging deeper into the experimental stuff. Still, even if it's against the true spirit of music, I still like this album quite a lot. It's catchy, addicting, and shows off their range while never feeling like a chore to listen through. I may not listen to Land of a Thousand Words and The Other Side quite as often, but I do enjoy every song on the original release. I acknowledge that there are bonus tracks and a deluxe edition with even more songs, but yeah, I wasn't a fan. I didn't hear anything that I felt added to the experience, so I chose to ignore them for this review. Apologies if you're an Almost Sorry fan. Overall, would still say it's a must listen.
This some serious gourmet shit.
Quite possibly my favorite album out of the quadrilogy, though it's a close race with their first, with Nightwork being a solid bronze medal. If you'd like to see me go over these two, feel free to let me know in the comments. It was fun to take a closer look at Tada, and helped me appreciate a lot of this album's hidden depths. You're gonna have to do some real convincing though to make me listen to Magic Hour. Thanks for watching. I know it's a bit different from the deep dives, but I wanted to try out some more music-oriented videos without taking months to make them. There's a ton of albums out there that I hold dear, but aren't quite the genre-busting rock operas I've covered in the past. If this proves popular enough, I'll be happy to keep them coming. Until next time, see ya!